Welcome to a special presentation from Living Local. This is Those Who Serve. In every community, there are people who raise their hand and say, I'll do it. I'll sit in that seat. I'll make those decisions. I'll answer for them. They run for office. They take their appointments. They show up to the meetings most of us never attend. And they make decisions that touch every corner of our daily lives. From the mayor's offices in Jacksonville, Swansboro, and Holly Ridge, to the commissioner's chambers on Northwest Corridor Boulevard, to the offices of our state representatives and senator in Raleigh, these are the men and women who carry out the public trust. Those Who Serve is our commitment to giving you direct access to those leaders. No filter, no spin, just honest conversation about the work of governing and what it means to serve this community. I'm Steve Goodson, and this is Living Local, Those Who Serve. Living Local is presented by Amy Goss with Guild Mortgage. Amy is a proud Marine veteran serving Jacksonville and the surrounding communities with VA, FHA, USDA, and conventional home loans. She specializes in helping military families, first-time buyers, and everyone in between achieve the American dream of homeownership. Welcome to the debut episode of Those Who Serve, a special series from Living Local. We're launching this series with one of the most consequential elected positions in Onslow County. As chairman of the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, today's guest oversees a $389 million budget, leads a 7-member board, and helps chart the course for a county of more than 213,000 residents, a community shaped by military service, coastal life, and a deep sense of home. A lot is happening in Onslow County right now. A major property reevaluation, a leadership transition in county management, growing demands on public safety and infrastructure, and a community expanding faster at any point in recent memory. Today, we're going to talk about it all. Straight, honest, and to the point. Chairman Tim Foster, welcome to Living Local, Those Who Serve.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, an honor to serve the people of Onslow County.
And thank you for coming back. We had you on a couple of months ago. Congratulations on your, your primary victory to get to the general election in November, to see if you can continue to serve.
See if you can continue from the general election in November. Yes.
That's right.
So thank you.
So congratulations. But thank you for joining me with this inaugural episode, and we'll hop right in and start talking about it. So, Tim, for folks that may don't know what county government, that doesn't follow county government closely, walk us through what the chairman of the Board of Commissioners' duties and responsibilities are, and how you were selected to that position.
Absolutely. A lot of people hear chairman of the board and they assume it's like the mayor position. Yeah. And obviously, county government's laid out a little bit differently. The chairman is still one of the 7 commissioners with one vote. All the votes are equal. There's no tiebreakers in there. I vote on everything, or the chairman votes on every issue that comes across the table, regardless of everything else. But the chairman leads the meetings, helps set the agenda, and then works closely with county administration. Daily phone calls, lots of questions. You set the tone for the board, which is real important. I think this board is really working well together. Kind of serve as the public face of the county. at different events. You're the one there with the major issues that you face. You're the one that signs the resolutions or proclamations during crisis, hurricanes, or storms of that nature, and other emergencies.
Would you call it a full-time job?
At one time I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
I have found that being a commissioner in particular, that chairman's role,
Yeah.
it's a
could,
full-time role
yeah.
because it doesn't stop. It's Sunday through Saturday. It could begin at 7 o'clock in the morning. It may not end, depending on what's going on, until 10, 11 o'clock at night, answering emails, answering phone calls, talking with different commissioners and county administration. And you just you can't predict what's going to happen. You just have to be prepared to lead with your fellow commissioners as best you can.
And I really want the citizens of Onslow County and whoever's watching this to to realize that it's an elected position. You're getting paid a ton of money, zero. I mean, you get reimbursements for travel and stuff like that, I'm assuming, but the amount of time and effort that you and your fellow commissioners put into this thing is because you care about our community.
Right.
Yeah.
Little salary in there and some travel reimbursements, but it's service.
Yeah.
And anyone that goes into local government and sees it as an opportunity for control or power is in it for the wrong reasons, because it absolutely is about serving.
Yeah.
And the chairman position is, the people elect you, and then every December the Board of Commissioners has a organizational meeting, and the commissioners select the vice chairman and the chairman. So that could change every December. It could change. And I think this is my third time in it.
Okay.
And it's time consuming, and we work hard together, even with differing personalities, differing opinions. But at the end of the day, everybody's working for the best or betterment of Onslow County.
And we'll talk about that a little bit, difference of opinions and things like that. Before we get there, former educator, retired educator. Let's talk about an Onslow County report card. So if you had to give Onslow County right now an overall grade of where we were, what would that grade be? And then after you answer that question, what are we doing well and what are we still needing to work on?
Okay. Right now, Onslow County is in the best position it's ever been in financially.
Okay.
A lot of things going on, and overall, great, strong position. And I'd have to give us an A right now.
Okay.
I really believe that. A lot that we need to be proud of that's going on in the county. We see growth simply because people want to be here. You and I grew up here. This is home. But there's a lot of people that are coming here because it's a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, and for your children to learn. And people are coming here to invest. I mean, you just look at the growth of Western Boulevard, the growth in Richlands out there on 24 in Richlands. We got incredible partnerships with the municipalities. We got great partnerships with the military. We have great educators here and good relationships with the education. Our first responders are working hard every day, from our paramedics and EMTs to our firefighters. We are just committed to the success of Onslow County. And then look at the volunteers in Onslow County and the amount of work that goes on, and it's people that care deeply. And where do people want to go? Let's go to a community that I already know cares deeply about its roots. We're doing a good job in public safety. We're investing in the sheriff's office, investing in the volunteer fire departments. We're investing in EMS, and those are critical. That's critical to the success of our county. But we're also now really starting to look at Parks and Rec, the recreational opportunities.
I love that.
And being somebody that come out of education and athletics, growing up, you and I both grew up playing recreation sports here in Onslow County. So we're looking at creating some more opportunities there, potentially a recreation center that people are asking for and want. And really a lot of long-term planning. When I first started being a part of the board, we were building budget to budget to budget. Now we're really looking at this budget, how it impacts us 5 years down the road, how it impacts us 10 years down the road. So we're doing a lot of long-term planning. Stuff that there's a good chance you and I may not be here for it, but there will be others that follow us, because that's one thing you want to do is make it better than what it was when you found it.
Leave it better when you left it.
And that's a great part of it. The relationships with county governments, the municipalities, the schools, the base. There's just so many positive things going on because no single group can solve the problems, but collectively we can really work together and make Onslow County, this area, a great place.
So you mentioned budget. Let's talk a little. We'll kind of back into that a little bit. So earlier this year, the board made a leadership change at the county manager level, and Deputy Manager Steve Eaton stepped in as the interim. That kind of transition in the middle of budget season it takes a real stable board
Yes.
and some leadership for those that are still in place. What does that process look like? And so that's the first question, process from the perspective of the budget. And second, what qualities are you guys looking for and prioritizing in your search for a new permanent manager? Yeah.
Well, leadership transitions are never easy.
Yeah.
They're never easy, especially during the budget season, like you mentioned. You're making decisions that are impacting every department, every resident in Onslow County. But this board, I'm proud of how this board has really worked together, and we are very stabilizing in the county administration, even with that change. And I think this board really handled that process well. County government, regardless of who's in charge, keeps moving.
Yeah.
I used to tell people when I was principal over Southwest High School, is anything happens to me this afternoon, one thing's for sure, those buses are pulling in this parking lot tomorrow.
They're still rolling. That's
so,
exactly right.
Regardless of what's going on, that leadership changes. EMS still responds to calls. Volunteer fire departments are still responding. Deputies are still responding. Social services are still working and helping families. So that continues, and with a stable board and the leadership we have has really helped us make it through that. When you look at Steve, Steve Eaton stepped into a role that he wasn't expecting, but he's done a great job.
Because he'd only been here at the time
yes.
for less than a year, right? Maybe less than 6 months.
He's been here 4 weeks.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
About 4 weeks.
Okay, I knew it was a very short amount of time, but I wasn't sure.
And that's, and I have to give him compliments for the work that he's done, because that's not a role that he come here for.
Yeah.
But that was a role that he has taken on, and he stepped into it, and he's got experience. He's got familiarity with county government. But I think the biggest thing that Steve has stepped in is the ability to build relationships. And he is building some strong relationships with his leadership, with our volunteer fire departments, with municipal governments. He's just really stepped in and has become part of that stabilizing force that's getting us through this budget as we continue to move forward. So he's done a great job. Now, when you start looking for that permanent county manager, the things we just shared are the things that we're looking for. Is you want someone that's strong leadership skills, financial understanding, which the people expect that, transparency, communication, not just communication with the board, but communication with everyone within the county organization and the other organizations, all the municipalities, the volunteer groups. Everyone has to build those relationships and have the ability to communicate with them and engage with them, not just communicate, but engage with them. And I think that is extremely important. And they have to understand growth and how to manage growth, because this county, like you said, is growing tremendously. And it's not the same county even from just 10 years ago. But someone that can do that, they've got the value, as we mentioned, they got the value relationships with the municipalities, with the schools, with the military, with their employees, with all the residents. They got to see that as someone that's them. That's looking out for them. So county government works best when people communicate openly and work collaboratively. So that's kind of what we're looking for.
Well, good luck as you move that process. Good luck with the budget process moving forward. That's two major things that you guys have going on. And related to the 27 fiscal year budget, let's talk about property taxes.
Yes.
Property values went out earlier this year. Everybody knows. A lot of Onslow County homeowners were surprised by what they saw. Countywide median increase around 37%. So take the time. Tim Foster and County Commissioner's message to homeowners who open that envelope and they're worried about what it means for their tax bill. Take a moment and talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. That's been one of the most difficult and challenging things, because we want people to understand, first and foremost, we are concerned with them. I know they're concerned. They opened up that bill, like you said, 37% increase. Mine increased.
I was going to say, Tim Foster opened up the bill
Yep,
too.
sure
Yeah, a
did.
bit too.
Mine increased. My mother's increased,
Yeah.
and 87, almost 87 years old, and hers increased. But I want everybody to know that there is a difference between the reevaluation
Yeah.
and the tax rate. And those are the things that we really have to share with people, is that we've got these new values. Now we have to work on that budget and have that new tax rate.
Yeah.
That tax rate has to take into account this huge increase,
Yeah.
because it's not going to stay the same. Absolutely not.
Last year, it was 65.5 cents per $100
Yes.
for the 26 budget. So go ahead and talk about that as you look at 27 fiscal year budget.
Yep.
Moving forward. I'm sure that was where you're headed.
That's where we're going.
And I didn't mean to cut
Oh
you
no,
off.
you're
I
good.
apologize.
Absolutely. Well, state law requires us to do the evaluation and that process. We don't choose to do it. The board chose many years ago, maybe all the way back to 2001 or 2011, I can't remember, to change it to a 4-year process instead of an 8-year process. You have to do it every 8 years, and that's just to keep up with either the increase in values or decrease in values. But the biggest thing is really looking at that tax rate at 65.5 and a 37% increase. We're not looking at that going, wow, we just hit pay dirt.
Yeah.
No,
What
we're
can we
looking at
buy?
that.
What can we spend?
Exactly. And that's not what you want to do. What you want to do, and the commissioners have really been talking about this, is what is people, you share the term revenue neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue neutral is really average. Some parts of the county, their revenue neutral could be 36 cents.
Yeah.
Some parts could be 45 cents. Some parts may be 53 cents. So you really have to find where that falls. And even if you get to that average, some people's property taxes will decrease, some will remain the same, and some will go up. But what we really have to do is look at what have we got budgeted from last year. What's it going to take to meet the needs of last year's budget? And then what do we need, if any, to meet the increase of cost of doing business, inflation, payroll changes for new employees, and those type of things. And then what do we have on the forefront? Are there things that we want to do, but we're not going to do it because we don't want to add that to the taxpayer? So you really have to plan those things out so you could do it over time and not hit them at the same time. But that's the thing that the commissioners have all been discussing.
Yeah.
And it hasn't, at no point has anyone looked at it and said, man, this is a windfall. What we've looked at is we've got to do right by the citizens of Onslow County. Last time we had the reevaluation, we dropped the tax rate about 5 cents. This time, I think you're going to see a much larger drop in that tax rate, and I think that's what the people expect.
Yeah. So I'm glad you explained that, because social media is just, the value of my home went up, my property taxes are going to go up, and this and that. But if you're listening to this, please understand the reevaluation and the tax rate. The reevaluation was just that, a reevaluation on your property. Now the county commissioners get to work with that and get to sharpen their pencils.
That's right.
And create a fiscal year budget for 27 that takes care of the things that we need, that this community needs.
Right. And you want to set that tax rate that you don't have to touch it
for
the next 4 years until the next reeval shows up. You don't want to put it too low and then in another year you have to raise it. You don't want to. You definitely don't want to put it high, because the people don't want that. They want services. They know services cost, but let's be conservative in what we're trying to do and be cognizant of what it's doing to, especially those on fixed incomes.
Yeah, and and let's be honest, things are getting more expensive.
Yes,
in general.
Yes, absolutely.
And once things start, besides maybe gasoline, whose price fluctuates depending on what's going on in the Middle East or what we've got going on, it's very rare that you see a commodity or a service, once it hits a decrease.
Right.
because there's so many variables associated with it, whether it's the service itself, whether it's the labor
That's
associated
right.
with
That's
providing
right.
that service and the benefits and and things of that nature. So let's talk about one of those services. So you guys have been having some really important conversations with our volunteer fire departments around contracts and service standards, and that's a topic that a lot of the residents care deeply about.
Yes.
And I would think that they are all for, our citizens are all for the just premier emergency services.
Absolutely.
I would hope they are.
Absolutely.
So where does that relationship stand today, and how has the board learned from the process, and how to engage with those departments going forward?
Well, first, the volunteer fire departments are incredibly important.
Yeah.
You can't overstate that. They're incredible. In rural Onslow County, these departments are they're taking on things that the work they do is just incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible. They're the backbone, and we have to understand that. And we need to build these relationships with them and actually continue to listen to them, continue to talk to them. And I think in this last contract discussions and negotiation, we got everybody, all of the fire departments except two, signed that contract. And I think going into this next one, we are doing a lot more communicating, a lot more work with those fire departments. New fire commission has started, and they're really working. And we got a new contract that's coming. They are all in favor of it. Their voice has been heard. We thought it had been heard last time, but sometimes you may think that it's not necessarily what you expected it to be. So this past year has been a lot of conversations, and we're really looking at a means to fund the fire departments, continue to fund them the way they need to be funded to meet their needs. And they understand that, and prioritizing the needs of each individual volunteer fire department, how we can do that over the years. And we've just learned that communication is vital. Communication is key, and that they have to know that we understand their importance, and that we are 100% in favor of volunteer fire departments. And Onslow County, this Board of Commissioners is not interested in taking over and having county fire departments.
Yeah.
The volunteers, their history is just so deep and rooted in Onslow County, and we have to build on what they've already created.
Let's talk about one of those commitments. You guys approved construction for a new Bear Creek fire station.
Yes.
$6.3 million investment.
Yes.
It's expected to be completed sometime maybe near the end of this year. To me, that's a commitment.
Yes. Yes.
Talk about what that means for that part of the county. I've got a place right down the road there on the Intercoastal Waterway near the Red Barn. But talk about what that means for that part of the county and how it fits into the board's broader public safety strategy.
That's just a major investment for the future of that community and their public safety. It continues to grow. I mean, it's tremendous is what's going on down there. Increased call volumes, service demands. This new station is going to help increase response times.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a huge benefit for that community. You increase response times, and these facilities are going to be so much better for the firefighters. Comfort for them, because when you go out and do what they do, you need a nice place to come back to decompress from what you've done. It's strengthen the emergency coverage there, especially in that region of the county. And in itself, it shows our commitment to staying ahead of the growth, our commitment to fire departments, our commitment to the people. And these are the things that matter. You call 911, that matters.
Yeah.
And response times matter. And those are things that we want to continue work on, our EMS response times. And we've got things in the budget that we are going to be in the budget to build some EMS stations throughout the county to increase response times to take care of the people. So the Bear Creek project there really shows that commitment to improving our public safety.
That's awesome. So we talked about growth. Camp Lejeune's president, coastal development, people relocating here from other places just because they want to come and be a part of what we got, man.
Yes, yes.
That growth just puts pressure on roads, schools, water systems. Talk about the board's overall strategy for managing that growth while at the same time preserving what's made this community so special.
Growth is a blessing and a challenge.
Yeah.
It's unreal. People are choosing Onslow County because of the quality of life, the military connections, the coastal access, our communities that we talked about early, the opportunities for families and business. I mean, it's just a great place to be, but it also puts the pressure, as you mentioned, on our infrastructure, our schools, our traffic, our housing, our utilities, all the emergency services that we were just talking so much about, and we have to continue to plan ahead rather than reacting to the problems. And that comes into that budget that's built. This budget is built with budgets in mind for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's going to mean investing in infrastructure. Our infrastructure is really going to be our schools and our public safety, things that matter in the day-to-day lives of our citizens. Sitting on the committees and the boards that send information up to DOT to help make decisions on what we need in Onslow County, and continue to try and influence in those areas, and then working closely with the municipalities and their needs. Those are huge, and then we've got to continue to support our economic development and really stay in contact with our legislative body, our senator, our House members, and really work with them. We need, as we grow, we've got to continue with those parks and rec opportunities. We got to continue to invest in public safety and education. But while we're doing all that, we've got to preserve our community. We've got to maintain what we have, what you and I have grown up here and love so much. We don't want Onslow County to lose its identity. Our population is growing. We're losing a lot of our farmland to developments, but we still got to maintain the character of Onslow County, and that's going to be a tough job because people want to come here. Housing shortage, which is starting to balance out a little bit now, but I think balance is the key word. We want smart growth and not uncontrolled growth.
Yeah. So you've mentioned it a couple times, and I want to kind of hit on something. You mentioned parks and recs, but in the 26 budget, you guys targeted 4 specific areas or priorities,
Yes.
like a community resource hub, an indoor recreation facility, expanding communication efforts, and a comprehensive park improvements. So where do those stand, and which one of those are most eager to see through completion?
So the community resource hub is about connecting residents to services and opportunities effectively. That's still on the board, still looking at that. That's going to expand the communication with the residents, keeping them informed and engaged. I think engagement with the community and people engaged with their government, I think, is extremely important. But to be honest with you, beyond the public safety that we have to continue to work on and improve on, I think I'm most excited about the indoor recreation facility and what it could bring here. Having been that person that grew up in education, teaching and coaching and been involved in athletics, playing in Onslow Pines Park, I remember when it opened, there's a lot that still needs to be done there because in 2026, Onslow Pines Park looks very similar to 1976.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's where that indoor recreation facility comes into play.
I think you and I have talked about this. We talked about this earlier, like I mentioned before when I interviewed you for the first, the primary. Onslow County, the county of Onslow doesn't have an indoor recreation facility.
It does not. We rely
never has relied on the great partnership with the schools.
That's exactly right.
But the schools are getting busier and busier and having events and functions, and they've kind of tasked. Sometimes they have they can rent out their gyms for different things and whatnot to make some money to
help with
to help with that budget.
Yes.
So Onslow County has never had an indoor recreation facility,
and that, to me, that's the one I'm most excited about.
A county our size,
right? We 215,000 people.
Yeah,
and we've never had an indoor rec facility. We've relied on the schools.
Yeah.
And the indoor rec facility can play so many different roles in the county. We started looking at what do we want in it.
Yeah.
You start hosting, basketball games, wrestling, volleyball. I mean, the fields that you can build,
Yeah.
because lacrosse is growing, soccer is tremendous in Onslow County, but the indoor recreation part of it is we've got to have that place that's ours,
Yeah.
that we can come to. I mean, you and I grew up playing at the gyms on Sunday afternoon at the high schools or the middle schools,
Whichever we could get into.
whichever one you can get into.
That's
and
right.
and now here we are on the cusp of having Onslow County have an indoor recreation facility.
That's exciting.
Which I think, you take that, maybe you take that and you connect it to your senior services. And I mean, it just creates so much opportunity, and it shows that we're trying to do things that the community's asking
Well,
for.
quality of life.
Yes, quality of
Core
life.
services, man, are essential and vital and needed. But
Yes.
quality of life, there's something about quality of
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So you mentioned schools. We mentioned schools just a second ago. You mentioned schools in the budget a little while ago. For those folks, and I want y'all to listen to this now, for those folks that don't understand, Onslow County, the County of Onslow and Board of Commissioners are committed to our schools.
Absolutely.
Investment in schools and youth, roughly 35% of the county's general fund goes towards education. That's a significant commitment. What does that relationship between the Board of Commissioners and the school system look like right now? And where do you see the greatest opportunities to strengthen those relationships?
Right now, the relationship between Onslow County Board of Commissioners and Onslow County Board of Education and our leadership in each one is as good as it has ever been. A funding formula ended several years ago, and we come up with a new funding formula.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, everybody is happy with that funding formula, and I think everybody should maintain and continue to be happy with that funding formula. And I'll share with you how that is transferred into other areas, but investing in education, the future of our community is our kids.
Absolutely, man.
And 36.1% of our total revenue goes to Onslow County schools. And that is the formula. And they know that. And that is their yearly local budget. And that helps with teaching positions, athletics. And then we have the capital, which we're increasing up to $8 million over the next few years on top of that. So
totally separate.
Totally separate.
Not brick and mortar building, and but that does include maintenance.
That's more of your maintenance,
Okay.
Your chillers.
Okay.
Which those things are crazy expensive. Resurfacing parking lots, resurfacing gym floors. It's the things that the state does not budget for.
Okay.
And then there's lots of teaching positions that the county pays for locally because the state doesn't provide funds for that. So we saw that need, and actually increasing the supplement to teachers at 12%. That makes us competitive with these other counties as much as we can, and bring them to Onslow County and keep them here. But one of the bigger things is that formula, that 36.1% has been such a positive factor. The school system knows what they're going to get. They're going to be able to plan for that without waiting to find out what that number is. Sort of like Coastal Carolina Community College has had to do for many, many years. And we just announced a couple of months ago a funding formula with Coastal. So now Coastal and President Heatherly's not going to have to submit a request, is they know what they're going to get. And that really just doubles down on our knowledge and need of continuing to support education, not just K-12, but at our community college too. Our community college is building leaders that are going to go on to universities and finish 4-year degrees, or they're going to get their associate's degree. They're going to leave lineman school at Coastal and go to Jones Onslow or Duke Energy. They're going to go into the...
they may be coming to your house to fix your plumbing,
yes, sir.
to fix your HVAC.
That's right. That's
fix
right.
Your because the trades over there is,
it's huge.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's Harry Brown, former senator, always tells a story of a surgeon on a Sunday afternoon called the plumber.
Yeah.
And the plumber said, "Look, it's Sunday. I mean, my service call is going to be $200." And the surgeon was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a surgeon. I don't even charge $200 like that." He said, "Well, now you understand why I quit being a surgeon and become a plumber." Because that service,
exactly.
I'm one of those that Saturday afternoon, it's 96 degrees in the shade,
I'll pay whatever to
and
get
my air conditioner's gone out.
Exactly.
When I call you and you say, what's going to be? You know what? I just won't eat this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix that air conditioner.
You gotta be cool, man.
That's the truth.
You gotta be cool.
And that's the commitment to education. And when people, that's part of our challenge is people see our commitment. They want to move here.
Yeah.
And we got a great community college. We got a great K-12 system, and we got great people working in it. And the collaborative work between the Board of Ed, the Board of Commissioners, the Board of Trustees at Coastal has just been tremendous.
That's awesome. So last question. Looking ahead, what's the one thing that's happening in Onslow County government right now that you wish more residents knew about? Something that just may not be getting the attention it deserves, something that may be flying under the radar. I don't know, something that's happening that you wish more people knew about and they might get excited about.
Number one is I want everybody to know that the emphasis has grown more in the long-term planning than it's probably ever done. And I've mentioned it a few times in this conversation, is that not budget to budget, but a budget that looks 5 years, 10 years down the road. And people, they can't see what's happening behind the scenes, but to know that there's a lot of thought and effort going into long-term planning. You know, what county government does is not flashy, but it directly impacts everybody in this county. And I wish they could see the true care that the commissioners have for the county and the work that's put in there. The amount of conversations that takes place between commissioners and leadership when it comes to the tax rate. To see that we really do care. We're citizens. We have to live with that tax rate. Our neighbors have to live with that tax rate.
Your mama and daddy
your
got
mom and your daddy
got to
I mean,
live with it.
Everybody.
Brothers, sisters, mom and dad.
That's it.
It,
and unlike being in Raleigh or Washington, the decisions we make happen to you now.
Yeah.
And I don't see you every now and then. I live in the Southwest community. I go to Food Line. I go to Walmart. I go to Simpson Brothers. I see my constituents, and I answer those questions
every day. Every day.
And the work and the care is there. We care about EMS and response times and taking care of them to take care of the people. We care about the history of our volunteer fire departments, and we need to take care of them so they can continue to take care of the citizens. Our employees are so dedicated. Yeah, they get frustrated at times, like we all do, but the employees are dedicated. They're working in county government. They truly believe in county government. They truly believe in service. And I think that's what makes Onslow County so good, is the people that are here believe in the county and believe in service.
That's great. Well, Tim, Chairman of the Board, Tim Foster, County Commissioner, thank you for joining us, being our first guest.
Absolutely.
On Living Local, Those Who Serve. So thank you for joining me today, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is exactly the kind of conversation this series is built for. Local government touches your life every single day. And the more directly you can hear from the people making those decisions, the better equipped you are as a citizen, a neighbor, and as a voter. We'll be back with more conversations in this series throughout the year. We'll have Tim back maybe for an update during the summer or maybe in the fall. But if you have any suggestions for someone who you'd like to see on Those Who Serve, just reach out and let us know. I'm Steve Goodson, and this is Living Local. That's our conversation for today on Living Local, Those Who Serve. Public service isn't always easy, and it isn't always glamorous, but it matters. The decisions made in city halls, county chambers, and legislative offices shape the roads you drive, the schools your children attend, the services you and your neighbors depend on, and the communities we're all building together. Our job, and yeah, that includes you, is to stay informed, stay engaged, and keep that conversation going. Because an informed community is always a stronger community. This is Living Local, Those Who Serve. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep leading with heart. I'm Steve Goodson. Thanks for watching. Living Local is made possible by Marine veteran Amy Goss with Guild Mortgage. Everyone deserves the American dream. Amy helps you achieve it.